Hello everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. We're Big Bad and back with another Fact Friday and a lovely giveaway. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, happy, and above all, healthy. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down there. And of course, you can go to Produce Like a Pro and sign up for the email list. But let's get started with the rather amazingly good giveaway. Those of you that watch the channel regularly will know that we go to AES, we pretty much go to every event that we possibly can. And of course, this year we were at Winter NAMM in January in Los Angeles. Well, actually, technically in Disneyland. No, I'm in Anaheim. Basically the same thing. There we met a lot of great companies and we met a new company to us, and that is Austrian Audio. Austrian Audio is made up of a bunch of very talented people who left AKG when AKG very, very sadly closed down their Vienna factory. No disrespect to AKG, they make great microphones, of course they do, but that factory had been in Vienna for decades and there were some incredibly talented people in there. So those incredibly talented people decided to start their own company. And they produced these. So we have two rather beautiful microphones to look at here and talk about. There is the OC18. This is the one that we talked about on camera at NAMM. This is a rather wonderful mic because it has the dual capsule idea where it hears out of both sides at the same time. It has an app that you can use on your phone that was really well demonstrated by Philip Schuster when I spoke to him. And the great thing I love about that app is that you can adjust the polar pattern, of course, afterwards. You can use it inside of your DAW. Because it has Bluetooth connectability, using the Bluetooth dongle, you can be in a live situation with a band on stage. You could have a bunch of these up and you could be adjusting the polar pattern in real time, which is really fantastic. I have great friends like Matt Butcher. I know you've heard me talk about him before. He's one of the greatest live sound engineers in the world, arguably but hey, I'm biased. He is the front of house for the Gorillaz and many, many other amazing bands. And if you've ever seen the Gorillaz on stage, for instance, there's about 17 people, literally 17 people on stage. And I know that he can go and walk out in the crowd and get a sense of the sound. And he does, because he's that kind of guy. So imagine giving him a tool like this, where he could have tons of microphones up on stage and adjust in real time. Like take something to hypercardioid, open it up a bit. Well, for instance, background singers changing. When I saw the Gorillaz last time, they had like 4 people around one mic at one time, and then 2, and then 1. Imagine if you could just open that up for more people, close it down, put it on hyper when one person's on it. You get the feeling. It's a really, really smart idea. Not to mention the obvious benefits of feedback rejection in a live situation, or just a live recording like I've done. I've done many, and still to this day continue to use microphones in a situation where I might have 4 or 5 acoustic instruments in a room. Being able to adjust those polar patterns and bring them in and out is really amazing. So just look in the box here, it's a 20 to 20K response, which is great. Here's the big deals. Okay, so it's 148 decibels. So basically a really high SPL, meaning I wouldn't have a problem sticking that in front of a guitar amp. And with the pad in, it will take 158 decibels. So that's pretty darn amazing. With all companies now, I love this. People are stepping it up and realizing that, you know, if you're going to give somebody a nice microphone, they've got to be able to transport it. You know, we have really good home setups now. This is a great home setup, but I have a smallish drum room with a piano in it. Imagine if I want to go to Sunset Sound and I want to take a microphone that I love, give me a good case. So this is a nice touch. All the little things really help. Okay, so it's a very substantial, very nice looking mic to say the least. We've got figure of 8. We've got cardioid, omni, all kinds of polar patterns basically, as 3 sets of roll-offs here. So we've got high passing at 40, 80 and 160, which is really nice. I would say that gives me anything from acoustic guitars, overheads, you name it. An off position with 2 pads, we've got a -10 and a -20, which is nice. Really nicely designed, really nice looking mic. 2, very nice. 2 different mic clips. A standard mic clip like this, and of course, a really nice shock mount. Smells all nice and new. It's got that brand new, just made smell. Now, of course, being this a dual capsule, here's out of both sides. You could use it in figure of 8. You could have 2 singers on either side. You can use it in omni, you can use it in cardioid, hypercardioid, and of course move between all of those positions, which is really, really nice. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because they looked at some of the criticism of the 414, which is still an industry standard. It's a microphone that everybody compares to. But as Philip and I were talking about at NAMM, they went in on the capsule and they made sure they went back to the old original design and the methods that AKG used on the capsules. So this is a completely improved design. I love that idea. So basically they've taken all the knowledge that they've got from working at an incredible microphone company, started their own company and taken it up another level. So congratulations to them at Austrian Audio. So this is the extra mic cable, so you can get both sides of the capsule recorded at the same time. So you can use it in true stereo. True stereo. You're not getting anything better than 2 sides of a capsule at the same time. Really nice. This is the OC18. This is the, even though it's made in Austria, it's only $999. So it's $1,000 or less, but it's made in Austria, which is incredible. Now they have the slightly cheaper version, which doesn't have the dual capsule capability, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. Again, the microphone doesn't need the extra cable, of course, does have the shock mount, the regular, so 2 mic clips, which is really tasty and really smart. I know it sounds, maybe sounds a little petty, oh, they gave them 2. No, that's a good idea. 2 mic clips is a big idea because probably 90% of the time I'm going to use this, even when with singers, because he says he's right-handed. You can tell I play cricket with my right hand. That was my cricket reference. Talk about Queen in a second, get that in as well. I'm gonna use it like this 90% of the time, unless I've got it up with my vocal mic permanently. But honestly, you know, we want a microphone like this that you can move around in all kinds of different positions. So rather nice. And this mic is $300 less. So it's essentially the same microphone. It will sound the same. It's the same quality. It just doesn't have that feature of the double capsule, so you can get that true stereo. Or it doesn't have that feature of being able to adjust, obviously, between super, hyper, all the way, you know, figure of 8, cardioid, obviously, all the way through to omni. Thing about this is the more expensive one, the $1,000 one, they are letting us give away, which is really generous of them. I'm going to do another video where we get to use this as well, but for the time being, they very kindly sent us this literally to give away. There will be a link down there below. If you've used this mic already, please leave us a bunch of comments and questions. I love knowing more. Thank you ever so much, Austrian Audio. I really appreciate you donating that mic for a giveaway. It's really generous of you. And let's get on to some FAQ Friday questions. Do you need a separate mic pre along with an audio interface, or can you connect the mic directly into the interface? Are there benefits or drawbacks to either? I've spent a lot of time and energy researching and talking and trying out different interfaces. And we use all kinds of ones. We have Apogee, we have UAD stuff. You're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And of course, we use a lot of the Audient stuff. Oh, we also have and love the Steinberg because of its connectability. When we go and do outside things and we turn up at different studios and record from different consoles, we need something with tons of inputs and stuff. And the Steinberg, being a German design, it's superly heavily engineered. And we just turn up and go, oh, light pipe, AES EBU, XLR, 1/4 inch, has it all. But the reality is like I've done many demos just using the ID14 and the ID44, the Audient, which is totally inexpensive. These are not entry level because they have an entry level Evo, which is even cheaper still. But these products are priced at a point where for me, they fulfill everything that I need. 90% of my life is recording 1 or 2 microphones at a time. As much as I love recording drums, I'm not recording drums 8 to 10 hours a day. Maybe we're throwing up the drum kit because it's actually down at the moment while we tidy the studio. Yes, it is down at the moment, but it's usually sitting up there. Matt Starr, Blair Sinter, one of those guys will come over, or myself if we're struggling. We'll play drums and maybe we're done in an hour, maybe 2 if we're doing 4 songs. It's tough. We don't need to be tracking drums all day. And then I've got to do all the overdubs. So then the rest of the day or days is going to be a DI and a mic on a bass amp, maybe a single mic and a DI on a guitar, maybe a double mic guitar, then maybe a single vocal, usually just mono piano on my upright. So we're talking 1 to 2 inputs maximum. So with the interfaces, we usually just go straight in. When we're tracking on an inexpensive interface, we're using the mic pre's. We've been big fans of the Audient mic pre's. They take a lot of their technology from their more expensive consoles and put it into that. However you look at it, when you're talking about inexpensive interfaces, if you don't go over, per Matt McGlynn at Recording Hacks, if you don't go over about 65% on the level, you're never really going to hear any audible clipping. You're printing a good, clean level, which is a wonderful thing. A nice clean level in there, and you can start applying all of the dirt that you want afterwards. So why am I highlighting that? Well, I'm highlighting if you've got a nice mic, something fairly transparent, like that's not coloring it too much. And then you take your mic pre that's built into your interface, and then you print something that's very clean with no coloration. You have the world at your fingertips. Why do you think every week somebody's bringing out a new tape emulation? Saturation. Waves have got 5, haven't they? They've got 3, the MDX one. They've got they've got 5 different brand new saturators. We love them all. They're all amazing. Everybody's doing really, really great stuff. You know, the new console emulation that we just tried out last week with Brainworks, the 9000J. All of these things have characteristics and sounds. What do you want? You want to print something very clean going in so that you can then choose how you want to do it afterwards, or not even afterwards. You can have that plugin running while you're tracking. If there's one of the beautiful things about UAD, as we know, is that there's almost a zero latency and you can track through their plugins. So there's all of these different things to take into account. And they all say one thing to me, is like, what is your methodology? So the answer to your question is, how do you want to record? Are you somebody that wants to go into a great drum room or own a great drum room and have a beautiful selection of mic pre's that have a characteristic and a sound, and you want to print through it? If you are, totally get it. Because frankly, if you look around here, I got a lot of outboard. I got a BAE 1073 over there, which is beautiful. Used it on freaking massive records. It's been the vocal mic pre on Aerosmith and the Fray and all of these different records. So I love it. But I know that I could get a great result with a great singer through my Audient, through my Steinberg, through the Apogee, through the UAD. I know that I could get that result using the built-in ones. These days, it's all about what exactly is your methodology? What do you want to achieve and how do you want to achieve it? I still love a hybrid workflow. I love the ability to be able to track and then mix back through and monitor on the console. So even though I'm doing a lot of really, really great moves in my DAW with tons of incredible plugins that we get to play with, just the idea of being able to use the dynamic sections of this console is really quite nice. But I am aware that I could probably work around it. That's what's scary. I could probably come up with, given some time, a really beautiful template and maybe a summing unit. Cranbourne springs to mind, really great stuff. And figure out a way that we could do stuff like that. Or I could have my Audient console here and sum through it. You understand, the world is your oyster. You have so many different ways of working now. It all comes down to what do you like. I'm tactile. I'm a guitar player. When I'm checking emails or watching a video description of something or reading a manual, I'll play the guitar. I'll practice. I'm a very tactile. I'm a musician. So yes, I do like grabbing faders and moving knobs and all that kind of stuff. The reality is like, how do you like to work? Maybe you love working on a screen and you love using the mouse. If you love all of those things, that's the way for you to go. I really, really believe strongly it's all about workflow. Don't let anybody, I don't care who it is. I'll say it again, I don't care who it is. Don't let anybody tell you that the way that you work is wrong. Because if you just have a sound card in your computer and an inexpensive microphone, a USB mic, you can make a record. We all know that. If there's any lesson that's being learned recently, it's all about the creativity. And the world decides whether you're going to be successful, not a forum. The forum telling you should have used this, this, and this. They don't make you successful. People make you successful. People who buy your song, who stream your song, who come and see you live. Those are the people that make you successful, not the forums. There's one thing I hope that comes across in what we talk about, is that it doesn't have to be expensive and be open to new technology. I'm super open to it. My favorite guitars that I play every day are not expensive. The guitar that's sitting on my right over here, that I was just playing earlier before we got into this with Eric, is my Yamaha. And it is, as we know, a $600. It's one up from the base model that they make Revstar. So that's what I love. It plays beautifully. It's made in Indonesia. It's not handmade in any other country. It's made in Indonesia and it plays beautifully. So think like that. Think about what tools can you get, because the studio world is totally changing. I go to the biggest and best studios in the world and we do tours, and now it's a blend of everything. There's some really inexpensive stuff mixed in with some expensive stuff. And people's personal studios, everyone has a secret weapon. Every guy or girl reaches over and shows you an instrument that they bought in a pawn shop for $100 that's made in Korea that they love. So don't get too hung up on that. Yes, mic pre's will give you color, and I love them. I absolutely love them. Outboard compression will give you color, and I absolutely love it. Expensive microphones will give you color, and I love them. I love those things. However, if you don't have them, you can do it afterwards, or you can do it in the recording process, the mixing process. It might be a little bit more work than sticking a $10,000 microphone in front of something. Heck yeah. But you know what? You can still do it. Give me a clean DI of your guitar performance, a clean DI of your bass. Give me a undistorted, open sounding vocal, and I can make it sound like it's going through all of this beautiful gear. That's just the reality. It's all about, one more time, workflow, methodology, whether you're into tactile things or whether you're fine doing everything in a box, or anywhere in between. That was a long answer, but I think you understand where we're coming from here. It's really important to, I think everybody in our community, and we have a really strong community here, is that we support each other with whatever they've got and get away from experts and elitists and all this kind of stuff, because I love beautiful equipment. Paul Wolf is one of my favorite people in the world. Look him up. He has designed some of the best equipment in the world, and it will give you amazing results. But he'd be the first person to admit that if you gave a really talented person something inexpensive, they could still get amazing results. So hopefully that long answer helps. Can you tell me again what cables you use at your studio? Do they matter? VoVox, for example? We like, for all our instrument cables, we use WireWorld, and for our mic cables, we've been using those, and we love them. They are expensive, but we love the quality. They seem to last forever. They sound amazing, and they've given us no problems. Other cables, reaching down over here, the Fender one for my guitar. And I personally use this and the WireWorld, but I use this because it reminds me of Wilco Johnson. Anybody remember Wilco Johnson? There's got to be a bunch of Generation Xers like me that know who Wilco Johnson is. Dr. Feelgood. Oh. I saw Wilco play when I was about, I think, 17 or 18 in Carlisle at the Stars and Stripes. Anybody know Stars and Stripes out there? And Wilco came out with a Telecaster and a red curly cable. By the way, Martin from Fender gave me that red curly cable. Thank you. That was one of my best presents because it just made me, when he gave it to me, I was like, Wilco Johnson. So Wilco had this Telecaster, and it was hand-painted black and red. It was all black, like with big brush strokes on it. And he hand-painted the scratch plate red. And I remember he was playing this Telecaster, and he used it, and he would run across the stage, and he'd get to the edge of the stage, and then he'd be pulled backwards by the curly cable. So he'd like run against the cable and pull back. And I just remember being a teenager. I think I was like 17. I was too young to be in the bar or the club. But I got in, and I remember Mike Harrison from Spooky Tooth. Yes, the Mike Harrison was working there. And I ended up jamming with him and playing with him. Oh, Mike Harrison died fairly recently. Anybody know who Mike Harrison is? Anyway, I just remember getting in there and watching that show and just being like, this is the best thing I'd ever seen. I just loved it. And Wilco had this amazing style of being able to play rhythm and lead, like it was just an incredible style. Go check out Wilco Johnson. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, long answer to your question, or random answer, but hey, I love questions like this. They keep me going on this stuff. WireWorld, incredible cables, really nice guys to work with, and my curly red Fender cable. If you're asking me generally, I don't know VoVox. I wouldn't use the cheapest cables, basically because they'll probably break all of my cheaper cables that I buy. don't tend to last very long. You know, if somebody accidentally steps on one, if it's a well-made cable, you'll probably be okay. But if it's a super cheap one, it will probably break pretty easily because it won't have a particularly good, you know, connectors. You want that quality, that Neutrix kind of level. Go with the best you can afford. You don't necessarily have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but you know you're going to get better quality at a certain price point that's going to last longer. I know people have had cables for 20 years and still use them every day, and they spent enough money on it. Something that lasts 20 years is probably much better than a $10 cable that lasts you a couple of months. So 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But we do love Wire World, and thank you for the great question. So once again, thank you, Austrian Audio. Really appreciate it. This is an amazing giveaway. It's a $1,000 microphone, the OC818. So please go down below. You'll see how to enter it. I really appreciate everybody who watches here. This community is absolutely amazing. At this particularly crazy time in the world, it's great to have people come together and help each other like you all do. So thank you for being part of our community. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. And please leave a bunch of comments and questions below. If you have any discussions about microphones or any of the other subjects we're talking about, please leave them below. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.